Hey, what's up, my homeowners over 40, my soon-to-be homeowners? Hope you guys are doing great. Listen, today I've got a wonderful video for you. It's going to be down to earth. I'm going to be breaking down bit by bit the home buying process and what you can expect along the way. I want you to be prepared. I don't want you to be caught off guard. I don't want you to be shocked. I don't want you to be confused. I want you to walk into this thing confident, knowing that you know how to buy a house, because you will. I'm going to teach you everything. Now, I've been doing this for 17 years and I've worked with buyers over 40, hundreds of buyers over 40. And that's my joy, that's my passion, and that's why I created this channel. So I'm ready to break this down for you in 12 steps on what you can expect when you start your home buying process. All right. And by the way, my name is Trinette. Okay. So I have a few notes that I'm going to be referring to. And that is because even though I've been doing this for 17 years, I don't want to miss any step. And I want to make sure that I'm listing these steps for you in chronological order. So step number one, you must decide that you want to buy a home. I know that seems obvious, but a lot of people enter this process and they really don't know if they want to buy. They've rented all their lives and they are comfortable in their space. So it does take a conscious decision to say, you know what, I am tired of renting. You know what, I'm ready for my own space. I'm ready to build equity, to build wealth. I'm ready to leave something for my children's children. I want to have my own backyard, my own space. And although you may have that if you're renting someone else's home, it's not yours. Okay, so we're talking about you owning your own home, and you have to make a conscious decision that you're no longer signing lease agreements. And the reason why, friend, that you keep signing lease agreements in the first place is because you haven't taken the time to prepare yourself to buy a home. You can't just wake up one morning and then say, tomorrow I'm going to buy a home. No, it's a process in your mindset. Your mindset has to shift first to say, Trinette, we are done renting. This is the last year you are signing a lease. Enjoy this apartment, enjoy this space, because it's done after this year. You've got to be concrete and solid with that. Now, the day you make that decision, of course, you're not going to buy a house tomorrow or next week, but you're going to start taking the action steps that move you towards being able to buy a home, so that when that lease gets close to expiring, you don't have to sign another lease. See, that's the problem. When our lease is almost to its expiration, we have not done the proper things to put home buying in place. So we end up having to go and sign another lease. And then we say, okay, next year I'm going to do it. But next year comes around and you still haven't done it. So listen, if you are serious about buying a home in the next year, you've got to start before your lease expires. My advice, I challenge all my buyers to start the process at least 6 months before your lease expires. Okay. Now think about this. How much have you spent in rent over the years? Let's just, for the sake of not hurting anybody's feelings, let's just calculate the last 3 years. If you've been renting for the last 3 years, let's say you pay $1,500 a month for the place that you live. Now, I recognize that this may be a whole lot in some parts of the United States or countries, or it may be like peanuts, or it may be a minimal amount in other parts of the region. However, we're going to use $1,500 a month. By 12 months times 12 months, that's 1 year annually, you have spent $18,000 on renting. And let's say you've lived in that place for just 3 years. You've spent $54,000 in 3 years. Now imagine if you were to take that same $54,000 and you were to apply it to a mortgage, something that's building you wealth and building you equity. How much further along would you be financially? So that's why it's serious to now, if you're over 40, if you're near 40, over 40, or in your 50s or even 60s, you've got to decide that you're tired of making the landlord rich. And a lot of times when you get to this age, you build up this fear and you feel like, maybe I just missed my window buying. It doesn't even matter to buy a home at this age. Yes, it matters. And the only thing that you're doing is you're transferring the wealth from your landlord to yourself. You got to pay to stay no matter where you are. It doesn't matter if you're renting or if you're owning a home. You have to pay to stay. So why not take that same pay that you're using to rent someone else's space to put it towards owning your own space? And I don't care if the good Lord only has you on this earth for another 5 years, 10 years, 15, 30 years. We don't know. But you can, whatever amount of time that we all have left, that you have left, that I have left, that can be time spent building your equity. And your equity can be passed down to generations after you, your loved ones, people that you care about. So that's step number one. You've got to decide that you want to buy, and then you've got to end this vicious rent cycle that's costing you thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay. Step number two, when you're ready to buy, you've decided, we're moving on to step number two, and that is you must develop a game plan to buy your home. So obviously you've got to check your credit. I know a lot of people are like, well, I want to apply, but Trinette, do I have to, check my credit? Do they have to run my credit first? Yes, the lenders must run your credit. That's the only way that they can determine if you're credit worthy or not. That's the only way to determine if you're not a risky borrower. They have to see how you've paid your bills in the past. And so what you need is at least a 620 credit score for approval. Now you can get approved for less than 620. You can go as low as 580. I don't recommend that because the interest rates are higher when your credit scores are lower, but you're aiming for at least a 620 and preferably more, higher. The higher you can get, the better options you can get, the better loan terms you can get, and you can unlock home buyer down payment assistance programs. And you can unlock most of those down payment assistance programs with a 620 or higher. Okay, so the first step is you've got to check your credit. Know where you stand, know where you are. If you need to pay down debt, do the things necessary to look favorable to the bank, to the lender when you go to apply. Secondly, you've got to save your money. Although you may qualify for down payment assistance, which means you don't have a down payment, it means zero out of pocket. Those programs are phenomenal, but not everyone will qualify for a down payment assistance program. So, or you may qualify, but you choose not to because you already have your money saved. So what I would like for you to do for the next 6 months is to open up a separate savings account. Or if you have a checking account or savings account, a free checking that's just lying around and you're not doing really much with it, it's just dormant, use that as your house fund account. Meaning every time you get paid or you earn extra money on the side from a side hustle, put that money in the earmarked account, house saving fund. And I don't want you to touch it because even if you use a down payment assistance program, you still have expenses that come with buying a home. You have to pay for your home inspection. Those are usually $350 to $500. You may have to pay for your appraisal. Appraisals are usually $500, and depending on where you are in the region, it could be more than $500. So off top, those are expenses that you may have. Then you may have to move. Well, you will have to move, but you'll have moving expenses. You may have to hire movers and you may need a storage. There are just things that come up. You have to have deposits to turn your utilities on. So you need to start saving money. And then you may have to pay your own closing costs. And then you may have to supplement some of your real estate agents' commissions. So there is a reason, there is a need to start your savings account. And if you don't have to spend all the money, then great. That's just money set aside for cushion when you start making your new monthly mortgage payments. So it's always wise to set some money to the side for your purchase. Okay. Number 3, in the developing your game plan, you can increase your income. So many of you are feeling like, man, money is tight. I just don't know. I don't really have much more to save. Then right now, there are so many side hustles that we all can do to earn extra money. It may just be temporary. You may just have to hustle for 6 months, 8 months, get a part-time job. You may DoorDash, or you may do Instacart, or you may do something through Amazon, just whatever. The opportunities are endless. But if you know that you need to pay down some debt, if you need to put some money back, then you may have to hustle. Get you a second income to bring in the extra money that you need so that you can support your vision to become a homeowner within the next 6 months or 12 months. Okay. So You may have to. Now, I know that this one is going to hurt, and most people our age are not going to go for this. But when I knew I wanted to buy a house, I was in my late 20s. I moved back home with my parents. Now, I realize that you probably can't move back and you don't want to even move back. But for some of you, you may have the option to move in with a relative to downsize so that you can save more aggressively. If that applies to you, then maybe that's something you can consider. You may have a friend, a roommate, a cousin, just whoever, a parent, a grandparent that you can move in and help out, for a couple of months, get back on your feet, save your money up, get your weight up, and then you're ready to push on and become a homeowner. And then lastly, you've got to get a grip on your spending habits. When you tell the Lord that you're serious about buying a home, then there's work that you have to do to put forth that effort. You can't just continue to have Amazon packages show up at the house every week. You have to get off of Shein. You've got to get off of Temu. You've got to get off of Amazon. You've got to bypass Starbucks. You got to quit eating out so much. You got to learn how to conserve some of your income. You've got to cut back on some of your expenses because you have declared that you want to become a homeowner. And part of that requires a real effort from you. So checking your credit and saving money and cutting back on your spending and getting a part-time hustle going to save some extra cash. All of that leads to the promise of becoming a homeowner. And if you're not in this situation, then maybe this doesn't apply to you as much as somebody that it may apply to. However, a lot of people, especially over 40, they've done well to maintain, and I have no doubt that you're probably in a really good space. That's why it's still a good idea to buy a home after the age of 40, because you do have some savings. You have been on your job for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Your credit is likely high, in the high 600s or 700s, maybe even 800s, because you've learned, you've made the mistakes, you've bumped your head, you've had bad credit, you've worked your way out of that thing, and now, you're sitting at 700 plus, so there are a lot of benefits that make it attractive to still buy a home with ease when you are over 40. A lot of the things that people struggle with in their 20s to overcome to become a homeowner, you've already bypassed those things. You're really just at making a decision. Okay. So that's step number 2. You got to get the game plan. And I want you to start that game plan at least 6 months before your lease expires. Okay. Number 3. Step 3, you've got to surround yourself by positive people. And this is important because a lot of people don't buy homes, or they haven't purchased homes because they have too many naysayers in their lives. They have too many people saying, well, if I were you, I would wait, Nikki. I wouldn't do it, Shantae. I wouldn't do it, Sean. I wouldn't do it, Kevin. This is not the right time. Have you looked at the news? Have you seen the interest rates? Have you seen the bidding wars? Have you seen the prices skyrocket? A lot of people may be in your ear and they may discourage you from buying a home. But I just want to encourage you that the only opportunity you have right now to buy a home is with the information that you have right now. No one can time the market. No one can predict what it's going to be a year from now, 2 years from now. I know economists talk about it, but nobody really knows. The only thing you can do is make the best decision that you can with the information you have today. So you do know what today's interest rate is. You do know what the market prices are. You do know what you're getting yourself into today. You won't know that. You won't know that next year. You won't know that in 18 months from listening to this video. You can only decide with what information you have today. And so you've got to be careful and not allow other people around you to speak into your ear and throw you off track, because they have no clue either. No one knows what the real estate market will be from month to month, from year to year. Now we can predict, but the thing is, you've got to decide if you're ready. And if it makes sense for you, then that's all that matters. So surround yourself by people who are already homeowners themselves, people who encourage home ownership, people who tell you that you can do this, that it's time, that they support you, that they believe in you, and that they'll walk this journey with you while you are buying your first home. There's nothing like having support. But then also, there are times when you are our age, you have to move in silence. There are people that you cannot tell. You just have to wait until you invite them to your housewarming party because they can't handle it. So, and that's okay too. You don't want to be, you don't want to have everybody in your business. And the older we get, the more and more we do become more reserved. The more and more we do move in silence. The more and more we don't want everybody to know our next moves. Just keep it to yourself. But let somebody know that can cheer you on, provide you with some encouragement, maybe even advice if you run into some areas during the process where you feel like you need more clarity or you need to brainstorm some ideas with, okay? So surround yourself by positive people, and this will help to eliminate the fear. I know it seems scary to buy a home, especially if you've gotten to this age and you still are renting. It's a change. Again, it's a mindset shift, but don't allow the fear to shut you down because, again, you have to pay to stay no matter where you are. No matter if you're renting or if you're buying, you still have to pay. So look at that fear as just nervous excitement, okay? Get excited about buying a home. Get excited about the possibility of doing this finally for yourself, for your family, for your children, for your grandchildren. Get excited about it. Don't let the fear shut you down. It's a healthy fear, okay? If you shut down the naysayers, if you surround yourself with positive influence, then you will soon discover that it's not really fear. It's just nervous excitement. And I expect you to have some of that. It's healthy to have that because this is a big decision, but it's not one that you should shy away from and feel like you can't do it. And here's why. Everyone around you is homeowners. You know so many people that have bought their own home. And so if they can do it, then so can you. No one else is better than you are. We're all going to work every day. We're all paying bills every day. It's just a matter of transferring that wealth from the landlord to yourself. Okay? So step number 4, you're going to enter the home buying process with realistic expectations. So what does that look like? First, you have to know your limits and know how much you can afford. So you do that by creating a budget, okay? So a lot of times I've had buyers to get pre-approved for these lofty amounts, but they have no clue what $300,000 will cost or what $250,000 will cost, what $500,000 will cost. They just know that they've been pre-approved by the lender and they are ready to take off running, but you cannot do that. You have to know what you can afford, because if you don't, you can get out here and you can lose your shirt, meaning you can lose the house, the foreclosure, and we don't want that. So if you are comfortably paying your rent with money left over and you can meet your other expectations, your other debts that you already have, then great. You may want to look for a mortgage that's similar to the rental amount that you're currently paying. If you know that your rent is too high and you really need to get off from under that because you're being choked every month and you're drowning, then you need to bring that down. So let's look at our same $1,500 example. If you're paying $1,500 a month and that's comfortable, then you may get a mortgage for $1,500. But if $1,500 is killing you right now, then you need to maybe bring that down to $1,200 or $1,100. Or let's say you're doing great at $1,500 and you really can afford $2,000 or $2,200. That's fine too. The point is, you've got to take a look at what you can afford before you hit the streets and start looking at homes. That is critically important. I always make sure that every one of my clients know exactly how much that purchase price is going to cost them, because ultimately that's what you're buying. You're not buying the approval amount, you're buying the monthly payment. So keep that in mind. You're buying the monthly payment. Okay. So the second thing, you have to know that this first home that you buy, it may not be your dream home. And this is one of the challenges that are often faced with my buyers that are over 40. When you're over 40 and you are just now buying your first home, you have dreamt of this all of your life. And I get it. You've imagined, you've visioned, you've dreamed about, you've prayed about, you went to open houses, you've seen what you want, you know what you desire to have, and even feel like you're worth it, you're worthy of it. But the problem with that is, Oftentimes you've dreamt about it for 20 years or 30 years. And then when it's time to buy that house that you are able to buy, it may not reflect what you dreamt of. And so it may not be the dream house. I hope it is, but it may not be. But I don't want you to be discouraged by that, because it may not be the dream home, but it's still your home. So your goal is to find the very best home that you can find in your budget, in your price point. And then God is going to bless that. He's going to honor that. He will bless you, but he will bless you on your level. So you have to be careful not to jump out here and think that since this is your first home and you're over 40, people are expecting for you to do it big and you got to max out the budget. Don't do that, because you are the only one paying for this every month. Remember, you are buying the payment. That's what you're buying. That's what you have to stay focused on. How much is this going to cost me every month? And can I still live my same quality of life once I obtain this new mortgage? So it may not be your dream home, but the goal is to find a great home, okay? And then you don't need to make yourself house poor. Again, nobody wants to come home to a big, beautiful home, but there's no furniture in it. There's no life in it. There's no love. There's no warmth. It's just empty. You're in it, but you really can't afford to be in it. That's not a way to live. You don't want to pull up at your home and feel regret because you can't do anything else. You want to maintain your same quality lifestyle. And what does that look like? If you are used to some luxuries like pampering yourself every now and then, nails and haircuts and massages, or going to dinner and buying yourself, a nice pair of shoes. You want to get yourself the latest Jordans, or, you want a nice bag, or you want your kids to go on a trip. Just whatever you do on a normal, everyday, monthly, yearly basis, you want to be able to still maintain that when you become a homeowner. You don't want to pull up at your house and you can barely keep the lights on, or you can never go out to eat again, or you can't catch a movie, or you can't catch a concert. That's not what this is. Don't max out your budget and make yourself miserable. I promise you, it's not worth it. A house is a house is a house is a house, but it doesn't mean that it's a home. And you want your house to be a home. You want it to be a happy place, not a place of tension, not a place of stress, not a place of regret. You want to make a smart financial decision. You want to buy the best home that your budget can buy, and you want to live comfortably like you always have as a renter, okay? So, step number 5, you will then choose a realtor, okay? And I know that a lot of people will say the opposite, but I've been doing this for a long time, and the best way I found is to contact a real estate agent first before going to a loan officer. So it doesn't hurt if you already pre-approved and you went to the loan officer first. Nothing is wrong with that. But if you are just starting the process, then I would prefer you hire a realtor first. And here's why. Realtors, we know what you don't know. We know which loan officers, which banks have the best programs, the lowest fees, the loan officers who really care about their clients. We know where you should go because we've already established these relationships in the industry with these people. So I know personally most of the local banks in my area who have the first-time homebuyer programs, who offer the down payment assistance, those title companies who have the lowest closing cost fees. I have relationships with the best home inspectors and appraisers, attorneys. Those things are invaluable. So when you work with me, then you get access to all of the people that I've spent years building a good relationship with. So I know for a fact as a realtor that those people are going to take good care of my clients because I've already built that rapport with them. And so that's why you want to hire your realtor first, because they know who you don't know. They know what you don't know. And you will just benefit yourself to have them on your team straight out the gate, okay? So I usually recommend and suggest, now I don't require, but I recommend a lot of the people that my clients work with because I want to ensure a smooth, happy, stress-free home buying process for my clients. And I've made it my personal business to do that. Okay, so How do you find a good realtor? Well, I want you to ask your family members, co-workers, close friends, hey, who did you use when you bought your house? Were they good? Did they have experience? Did they treat you fair? Were they knowledgeable? Were they accessible? All those things matter because you will be in relationship with your real estate agent for at least 30 to 60 days, maybe even longer, depending on the market that you're in. So you're going to be spending a good amount of time with this individual. So you want he or she to have the same vibe as you. You want to be able to feel relaxed and to feel like your questions are not stupid if something comes up, that they treat you with respect, that they are knowledgeable, that they are competent, that they know the area, that they've worked with first-time buyers, and that they have patience. All of those things are important. And it's important for me to let you know that as of August 17th, 2024, NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, they put out a mandate that requires all buyers to sign a buyer representation agreement. You have to give us permission. Now, we've always had to have that signed, but now it is mandated that every realtor have you sign this buyer representation agreement before we can even show you property. In times past, we were able to show you houses without that commitment, but we cannot do that anymore. So when you are presented with the buyer representation agreement, I don't want you to shrink back and feel like that realtor is trying to get over on you, or that realtor is trying to make you sign something that you feel uncomfortable with. If you leave that realtor and go to the next realtor, then that realtor is going to offer you the opportunity to sign that same agreement. So we can no longer show homes. No realtor that is a part of the National Association of Realtors organization, and that is millions of us. We can no longer show you homes without the buyer representation agreement. Now, also with that, buyers are now responsible for paying possibly their realtor's commission. In times past, sellers would add in both realtors' commission in the listing fee. So if they listed their home on the market, you see a sale sign come up in the yard, then that meant that that seller has set aside enough money to pay their realtor and then enough to pay your realtor. But now everything is negotiable. It's always been negotiable, but it's really negotiable now. So what does this mean to you? It means that sellers are still willing to pay your realtor, but they may not pay the full amount of what your realtor is requesting. So in simple terms, here in my state, when I'm representing a buyer, typically the commission is 2.4% of the purchase price. Now, if my client loves the house and they say, Trinette, I'm ready to make an offer on this one, I love this house. If that seller is only paying 2%, then my buyer will be responsible for the 0.4%. So I will get the bulk of it from the seller because they've agreed to pay 2%, but there's still a 4% amount that's remaining, and that 4% will be asked of my client to pay. Now, if you look at homes and you fall in love with the home and the seller is not paying any of the 2.4%, then you have an option. You can pay the 2.4% that your buyer, your realtor, that your realtor is requesting, or you can find another home that offers a buyer's agent commission. Okay, so there's ways to work around it, but I want you to be prepared before you start the journey that things have changed and now buyers are responsible for paying for their realtors, their own personal representation. You're responsible for possibly paying the commission if the seller of the home that you chose is not willing to pay. But I don't want you to panic because most sellers are still willing to pay some, if not all, of your realtor's commission, okay? And keep in mind, I don't want this to freak you out either, because you don't want to just work with the listing agent, because the listing agent's fiduciary responsibility is to the seller. It's not to you. So if you go and you call the realtor who has the name on the yard sign, if you go call Lisa Stanley because her name is on the for sale sign in the yard, then Lisa Stanley does not work for you. Lisa works for the seller. Lisa's fiduciary responsibility to get the best deal, the best negotiations, the best price, the best everything. Her allegiance is going to be to the seller and not to you. You need to get your own representation. You need to have your own realtor that is looking out for your best interest. That's what you're paying for. And you don't want to go at this alone. Yes, you can buy a home without a realtor, but why would you? Because you can leave money on the table. You can be taken advantage of. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a realtor. I'm saying this because this is a huge investment and we are trained for this. We do this every day. It's just like I wouldn't change out my own alternator. I mean, I may can get on YouTube and figure it out, but why would I do that when somebody is trained to change alternators? You know, so you have to look at your investment as what it is. It's a huge investment, and you want to make sure that you're with somebody sharp, competent, somebody that can negotiate. You want a bulldog. You want somebody that's nice and kind. When I say bulldog, I mean somebody that's going to work hard for you, and your money will be well spent. And again, you may not even have to pay any of it, but I just need you to know that that's the change as of August the 17th. Is already in effect at the time of this video, that you may have to pay some or all of your realtor's commission, but you definitely need to get one. So after you've hired your realtor, you've talked to family members, you found out that this person is great, it's a good fit, you feel good about it, call them, tell them that you're ready to get started. You haven't started anything, but your credit is this, that, and you've been on your job. And so they'll ask you some preliminary questions as a realtor. I always ask my clients upfront, new buyers, I ask them specific questions to get the ball rolling to see which lender I feel is going to be the best fit for them. So again, that's the benefit of hiring us first, because we know based on what you tell us, we know where you will be better served or best served for the loan product that's going to ultimately be the best deal for you. Okay. So then after you've talked to the realtor, hired the realtor, step 6 is you're going to go to the loan officer. Okay. So you're going to speak to the loan officer, and I don't want you to be intimidated by applying for the loan. Again, this is one of the biggest hangups that I see with buyers over 40. They are afraid of rejection. They are so afraid to fill out the loan application. And friend, the only way that you can become a homeowner is that you must apply. There is no way around it. Yes, they're going to pull your credit. Yes, they're going to be all in your business, but you're not going to be concerned about that because you're already going to be prepared. The loan officer is going to ask for your W-2s for the last 2 years. They're going to ask for your last 2 months of bank statements. They're going to ask for your last 2 pay stubs. They're going to check your credit. They're going to see if you have student loans. They're going to look at all your other debts that you have. You don't need to have any liens or judgments. They're going to check everything with a fine-tooth comb. They're not picking on you. That's just the government. They do it to everyone. So don't get uptight. Don't be mad. Don't be angry when they say, hey, Trinette, I need, extra documentation here or there. You just start gathering all your documents, put everything in a big brown folder, label it documents for my home. And then when they ask for something, you already have it. You can scan it and be ready to email it to them. But the process is fairly simple. You can usually apply for the loan online. So things have changed so much. You don't have to go and sit face to face with the loan officer anymore. It's no longer intimidation of, oh my God, are they going to reject me? I don't want to go in here. Are they going to judge me based on how I look, what I drive, what I have on? All of that's over. Loan officers are here to serve you just like real estate agents. They need you to apply because they need to work. So they are welcoming your application. It takes usually 10 minutes to fill out a loan application. Once you get it done, it'll take you 24 to 48 hours to hear back, and then you will know exactly where you stand. If everything is in order, then you'll receive your pre-approval letter, and then you will have that piece of paper in hand that says you are ready to start shopping for your new home. Okay. So that leads us to step number 7. And that's the fun part. That is, it's time to search for your new home. Okay. That's the fun part in the whole process, is getting out, looking at houses. But it can also be daunting if you don't know what you're looking for. So I tell all of my clients, I need to know your wants and I need to know your needs, versus Well, really, I need to know your needs first, then your wants. Okay. So the goal is to get my clients, the goal for you is to get as many of your needs met with the house. And then we can add as many of the wants as possible. Okay. Because it's important for you to know where you want to be. Location, location, location. I know you hear that all the time, but it's so important that you choose an area that best fits your needs, your commute, dining, shopping, your church, your kids' school, just whatever is important to you. The area, the location is something that cannot change. I always advise against buying a home that is beautiful and spectacular, but it doesn't meet your needs for your daily living. You don't want, I just recently had a couple who purchased a home and it was far away from everything that they usually frequent. And the house was lovely. But then they soon discovered after living there, not even a year, that they had made a decision because they moved too far away from the things that they frequented all the time. And you don't want to do that because that will make you reject or regret the home that you just purchased. So you've got to know what you're looking for. You've got to know, obviously, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, what you need in the kitchen. If you need backyard space, just if you have growing kids or you have aging parents that may have to move in with you. Everybody has different needs. Everyone has different wants. Now, the difference between a want and a need would be you need a bathtub, okay? But you want a jacuzzi bathtub, or you want a garden tub or a soaker tub. Those are wants. You need a tub, but you want it to be a jacuzzi or a soaker or a standalone tub, just whatever it is, a cloud tub. Whatever it is that you desire, that's a want, okay? And the goal is to get you everything you want and need, but we really will focus on the needs first. So you have to learn how to separate your needs versus your wants. And then something that I always have my clients do is to be honest. I tell them at the very first home, this is not my house. You don't have to sugarcoat anything with me. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. If you don't like it, just say, Trinette, this house is a hot mess and I don't want it. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip off all the lights and we're going to get out of there and we're going to go to the next house. Okay? Because it's not going to hurt my feelings. Being honest with your realtor does not hurt their feelings. It's not their house. They want to take you to the home that you love. That's our goal. Our goal is to match you to the home that you want, the home that you love. And if you don't love it, then I don't want you to buy it. It doesn't matter how many houses we have to look at. Now, I'm a good listener. So I try to minimize your time and not just show you everything out there, because that means I'm not a good listener. If I have to show you 20 or 30 houses, I'm not a good listener. But if we've fine-tuned what you're looking for, then once we find it, I usually know it before the buyer even knows it. But I can only do that if you're honest. So I want you to be as honest as possible. If you like something about the house, make sure your realtor knows, I like this. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm talking about. And if it's missing the mark, say the same thing. I do not like this. This does not meet my expectations. I need to see something else. Speak up. This is your process. We are here to assist you and to guide you, but we are not here to make decisions for you, okay? We want you to be happy. And plus, we don't want you calling us after 3 months, 6 months later saying, oh my God, I made a mistake, Trinette, and I hate this house. I don't ever want to hear those words. I want you to be happy. And if it takes time, then it takes time. So be it. Everybody's not going to find the it house on the first go around. It may take multiple trips. It may take a couple of months to find what you're looking for. And then in contrast, those who really know what they're looking for, it may happen in the very first house. So don't be afraid of that either. Don't have this FOMO mentality, meaning fear of missing out. I've had many buyers. The very first home I showed them, it was the it house. And they stopped the search right there because they knew it. It spoke to their heart. They knew that that was the house for them. They lit up the moment they stepped into the house. You get this feeling. You get this knowing that you're home. You'll know it when you get there. And my last advice on the home search, I like to give my clients a grading scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the least likely, and then 10 being the most likely, or I love this house the most. If you don't score a house at least an 8, 9, or 10, then I feel like you're making a huge compromise. If you go in and you say this house is a 5, don't buy it. If you say it's a 6, don't buy it. If you say it's a 7, don't buy it. Wait for the 8, 9, and 10. And there is no perfect house, so it may never be a 10. But I want it to be as close to a 10 as possible, okay? Because you will regret it. If you don't like the house on the photos, you are not going to like it in person. And there's no need to waste time even going to look at those types of homes because they don't meet your needs even when you're looking at them on your phone, on Realtor.com or Zillow.com or Redfin. Just stay away. Just look, but don't schedule a showing, okay? So that is what you have to do when you are shopping for a home. Be honest, narrow your search down, know exactly what you're looking for, know what area you're looking for, and then your realtor will do their due diligence to help you find the perfect home in your budget, in your desired area, okay? So once you found that it house, then comes the commitment. Step number 8, it is time to write an offer on the home that you want to purchase, okay? That may seem scary, but trust me, it's not scary. You want the house, so this is just part of the process. Your realtor will discuss with you the comps for that particular home, how much you should offer, the things that you should ask for in the offer. So this is your time to put your best foot forward. Homes are still, they're still coming back on the market. So things are a lot better than they were during the pandemic. But you still have to be fair with your offer. You still have to be semi-aggressive at the time of this video. Things could change. Again, real estate changes. It's cyclical. You never know. So whatever your realtor advises, then weigh and listen to what they're saying carefully, but make sure you speak up and you say what you want to offer. I usually suggest what I think my client should offer, but in the end, it's their decision. So we will submit the offer and we'll present it to the seller, and we will go back and forth until we both reach a meeting of the minds, meaning the seller is okay with the offer, they accept, and then the buyer is okay with the offer and they accept. Both parties have to come together to make a happy middle, to make a meeting of the minds for the offer to work. Okay, so you will present that to the seller, and the seller will say either, yes, I'm happy to accept that offer, or they'll say, no, I reject that offer. So if you offer something ridiculous, then expect a no. Or they may counter the offer. And counter offer means, I received your offer, I like some things about your offer, but there are some things about your offer I don't like. So here is my offer back to you in counter to the offer that you sent to me. And so they will present you with another offer. And then it's up to you to decide if you want to accept their counter offer. And you don't have to. That can go back and forth too until you have a meeting of the minds. Okay. So that's what you would do in step number 8. You will write your offer and then get your offer accepted. Once you get your offer accepted, then you're going to have a home inspection done. Home inspections are optional, but they're not an option. I mean, let me rephrase that. Home inspections are optional. You don't have to get one, but I don't allow them to be optional for my clients because home inspections are vital to the process. You want to make sure that the home has been inspected from top to bottom. You want to do your due diligence and hire a third-party independent inspector that's representing you to go in and check the roof, the heating, the air, the plumbing, the electrical, the windows, the appliances, the foundation. They will look at everything, and to the best of their ability, they will let you know the condition of the home before you close on it. Okay, it's very important. So when you have a home inspection, let's say if the home is not brand new, but even if it is brand new, every house has flaws, okay? So let's say you have the home inspection done and 20 items come back as needing attention. Out of that 20, you may look at it, the list, and say, okay, well, out of this 20, 8 of these items are very, very important to me, Trinette. So what we will do is we will take your list of 8. I will present those to the seller and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, these are the 8 items that we would like for you to repair on the buyer's behalf before we close on the house. Now, the seller has the right to say, yes, I will make all of those repairs. Or the seller may say, no, I'm not making any repairs. Or the seller may say, I'll make 6 of the 8 repairs. Okay. And then at that point, we have another meeting of the minds. If the buyer is okay with what the seller will repair on their behalf, then we'll keep the deal moving forward. But if the seller declines to make any repairs, and those repairs are so important to you, then we can terminate the contract based on an unsatisfactory home inspection, and then we can just get you out of this deal altogether and find you another house. That's why it's super important to have a home inspection. Just because it's been remodeled, new paint, new flooring, new countertops, that does not mean that the house is in excellent condition, and you want to protect your investment as much as possible. Okay. Then we're going to move to step number 10, and that is to have an appraisal. So an appraiser will come out and look at the house to verify that you are not overpaying for the home. They're going to give you the true value of this home prior to you closing on it. They're going to make sure that the square footage is accurate, and then they're going to look at the amenities in the inside of the house, any upgrades done to the house. They're going to look at what's sold within the last 6 months in that particular subdivision or neighboring subdivisions to come up with the true price of that home. So you want an appraisal done because it protects you from overpaying, and then it protects the bank from overlending. And you don't have a choice in it anyway. The loan officer, the lender, requires you to have an appraisal. But that's something that you want done anyway because you don't want to ever overpay for the home. Okay. Now, step number 11, you're going to go to closing. That's the great day. And you're going to sign the papers and you're going to make this thing official. You're going to go in and people say you sign your life away. That's just a running joke for people who purchase homes, but it literally kind of feels like that. But it only takes like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to actually sign the paperwork. So you will have a scheduled time to go and meet with the title company or the closing agent or the attorney. And then you will sign all the documents that will transfer the deed from that seller over to you. And then you will get your keys on that same day. And you are done, friend. You just bought yourself a home. So all of those steps lead up to step number 12. And that is to celebrate because you did it. You bought a home. And I'm telling you, once you have your team in place, friend, the process is simple. It starts with hiring a great realtor and then trusting their instinct, speaking up, doing your legwork up front, and then having a voice and speaking up for what you want and what you're looking for, having everything in order so that your process can go smooth. And then I promise you, it's not hard at all. I usually can get my people closed in 30 days. That's my goal. That's my team's goal. And once you got the right team, friend, buying a home is not hard. It is simple. The hardest part is making up your mind and deciding that you're really going to do it this time. That's the hardest part. That is it. Once you say, I am done renting, I'm ready to really do this, then you can take off. And once you hire a realtor, they're going to keep you accountable and they're going to help you get over that finish line. So if you're like me and you're working on a goal, or you are researching something and you found a YouTube video or channel that really speaks to you and they're answering you and they're helping you to get to that next level, then if you're like me, subscribe. If you know that you're on the home buying journey and you are serious about this, then subscribe to the channel so that I can continue to pour into you and continue to speak into you, continue to encourage you. Let me be one of those positive people in your circle, in your ear, pushing you to do this time because you can. It's time out for signing leases. That's over. It is time to move forward and to finally become a homeowner. And I would love for you to hit like on this video. I would love to help as many people as I can. I would like to be your virtual realtor. So again, if you found this helpful, if you know that I can be the person that can help get you to that point, then allow me to be that person. And plus, it's free. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you on the upcoming videos. Take care, homeowner. Bye.